9 months ago, I joined the team at Restaurant Delicious du Sabor. I started as a simple waiter, but over time, I adapted to the hectic pace of the kitchen and gained the trust of the team. Everything was going well until the owner's daughter, Carolina, decided to take over management. At first, the transition was smooth. Carolina seemed interested in learning the ropes of the restaurant, but it soon became clear that she had a somewhat unique approach to leadership. Her explosive temper began to surface, and she became known for her unpredictable mood swings. The situation reached its peak recently, when I was surprised by an embarrassing episode in front of the entire team and customers. A busy night was about to begin when Carolina completely lost control. She yelled at me in front of everyone, pointing out non-existent mistakes and exaggerating small incidents. The pressure of being reprimanded in front of colleagues and clients was overwhelming. Not content with stopping there, Carolina threatened to fire me right then and there. Her words were sharp as knives, and the tension in the air was palpable. I swallowed hard, maintained my composure, but inside, the impact was devastating. The environment that had once been so welcoming was now drenched in discomfort and humiliation. Since then, I have struggled to understand what triggered this explosion. Carolina's erratic management has affected not only my performance, but the overall atmosphere of the restaurant. The fear of being the target of his unpredictable temper hangs over us all. Despite everything, I try to maintain hope that this turbulent phase will pass. After all, Restaurant Delicious du Sabor has weathered storms before and emerged stronger. However, every day under the new management is a challenge, and only time will tell if I will be able to endure it or if Carolina's madness will be the reason for me leaving this place that I once considered my second home. On that fateful day, the sound of Carolina's voice echoed through the restaurant like thunder, interrupting the harmony that usually hovered among the employees. Tension began to build early on, when Carolina arrived at work clearly irritated. I could feel something was about to happen, but I never imagined the intensity of what was coming. Chaos began when an order left the kitchen with a small error. Instead of approaching the situation calmly and discreetly, Carolina exploded into a storm of harsh words and exaggerated accusations. Her face flushed with anger, and she completely lost her composure. The restaurant, normally so busy and full of happy murmurs, fell into an awkward silence. Customers looked on in bewilderment, while employees tried to hide their embarrassment and discomfort. The welcoming and professional atmosphere we had built over the months was replaced by a toxic and hostile environment. I tried my best to remain calm, responding to criticism politely and professionally. However, Carolina seemed determined to humiliate and demoralize in front of everyone. Her screams reverberated in my ears, and I could feel the pitying eyes of her co-workers. The emotional impact of this experience was profound. The respect I had for the restaurant and the work I did was slowly being eroded. I questioned whether it was worth continuing under such unstable and disrespectful leadership. After the episode, the atmosphere in the restaurant remained tense for several days. Carolina made no effort to apologize or defuse the situation. Uncertainty hung in the air, and many of us wondered if the restaurant would survive this tumultuous time. As I continue to perform my daily duties, I carry the weight of that day in every interaction with Carolina. Trust has been broken, and what was once a welcoming environment has now turned into an emotional minefield. It remains to be seen whether the restaurant and I will be able to overcome this storm, or whether it will be inevitable to seek new horizons away from the tyranny of uncontrolled management. As the days pass after that humiliating incident, the idea of resigning starts to become a real possibility. The atmosphere at Restaurant Delicious du Sabor remains permeated with tension, and Carolina's presence as manager only intensifies the hostile atmosphere. Every interaction with her is like walking on eggshells, waiting for the next outburst of anger. The trust that once existed between staff and management has been severely shaken, and employee morale is in a steady decline. What was once a workplace where everyone felt valued and respected has become an environment where uncertainty and fear dominate. I think incessantly about my stay in this place. The thought of leaving a job I've enjoyed for so long is distressing, but the prospect of continuing under Carolina's volatile management is equally disheartening. After all, how much longer can I tolerate leadership that disregards the team's well-being and threatens everyone's emotional balance? However, before making such a drastic decision, I decide to try to talk to Carolina. I am looking for an opportunity to discuss what happened, express my feelings and understand your expectations regarding the team. It may be that she is not aware of the negative impact her management is having or that she is willing to change her behavior. If, however, this attempt at dialogue does not occur, the decision to fire me becomes more imminent. Emotional health and the work environment are crucial, and I cannot sacrifice my mental stability for a job, no matter how much I enjoy it. I am prepared to seek new horizons, where my effort and dedication are recognized in a way that goes beyond screams and threats.
Since the moment I graduated in dentistry, my professional career has been challenging. There have been achievements and growth that I never imagined I would achieve so quickly. The feeling of pride in seeing my dental practice prosper and gain the trust of patients is indescribable. However, this successful trajectory brought with it a series of personal challenges that, until then, I was not prepared to face. I believe that effort, dedication, and the constant search for improvement were the pillars that took me to the professional level I find myself at today. However, this success did not go unnoticed in the eyes of my parents. Instead of celebrating my achievements, they began to see my career as an opportunity to take advantage. At first, the insinuations were discreet. Comments about how I should contribute more financially to the family, since, according to them, I owe them everything. After all, I was raised under their roof and, according to their distorted view, my education and professional success are mere reflections of the upbringing they gave me. The pressure to help the family financially became increasingly evident, transforming the family environment into a minefield of unspoken expectations and veiled demands. What was once a relationship based on love and mutual support was now corroded by resentment and unfair demands. It's painful to realize that, instead of celebrating my achievements, my parents see my career as an opportunity for vindication. The emotional weight of this situation has been overwhelming, and I often wonder if they truly understand the effort and sleepless nights I have invested to get where I am. The height of family tension occurred during a weekend when we decided to get together to celebrate a special occasion. However, the festive atmosphere quickly turned into an awkward situation, which left emotional scars that were difficult to erase. During dinner, in front of my parents' relatives, the conversation took an unexpected turn. Amid laughter and shared stories, my parents decided to bring up the delicate subject that was hanging over us. With disconcerting naturalness, they began to discuss my career, their expectations and, of course, the supposed debt I owed them. The feeling of being at the center of such a personal and sensitive conversation, in front of relatives who had no prior knowledge of this situation, was distressing. Every word uttered was like a knife cutting deeper, exposing my choices and accomplishments to an audience that shouldn't be involved in this conflict. The humiliation became palpable when my parents unceremoniously began to highlight their generosity in providing me with a good education and their insistence that I owed them something in return. I realized they were more concerned with justifying their own expectations than understanding the complexities of my journey. Every curious look from the family members present was like a silent confirmation of the situation, and the emotional pressure I felt at that moment was overwhelming. The festivity of the moment was replaced by an uncomfortable silence, and the words exchanged that night would remain a shadow over our family relationships. Since then, I have been trying to deal with the consequences of this embarrassing episode. I'm still trying to find a way to balance my family's expectations with the need to establish healthy boundaries regarding my career and personal life. However, the emotional wound opened that weekend serves as a constant reminder of the challenges I face not only professionally, but also within the family complexities that shape who I am.
From the beginning, our relationship felt like a fairy tale. We met each other under circumstances that seemed destined, and she was the embodiment of the woman of my dreams. However, as time passed, I realized that the fairy tale was turning into a nightmare. I found myself trapped in a relationship that, to everyone's eyes, seemed perfect. But behind the scenes, things were very different. Her personality, initially charming, began to reveal itself as manipulative and controlling. Every step I took was monitored and evaluated. I felt like I was in an emotional cage, unable to escape. The constant criticism undermined my self-esteem, making me doubt my own abilities and worth as a person. She used subtle tactics to keep me under her control, from questioning my choices to subtly withdrawing me from friends and family. I found myself increasingly isolated, without realizing how this was happening. The fear of confronting her and the anxiety about what she would do if I tried to end the relationship paralyzed me. Every time I thought about breaking up, her manipulation made me reconsider. She knew exactly what to say and do to keep me around, even when I knew it wasn't healthy for me. I tried to rationalize her actions, convincing myself that maybe I was exaggerating. But the truth was that I was trapped in a cycle of emotional abuse, where the good times were few and fleeting, while the emotional scars accumulated. Now, as I share this story, I feel the weight of the need to seek help. I know the only way to get my life back is to break the shackles of this toxic relationship, but the fear of the unknown and the uncertainty of what will happen next still haunt me. If you or someone you know is going through something similar, please seek help. Emotional abuse is real, and no one deserves to live in a relationship that steals their peace and self-esteem. As the days pass, I feel a greater and greater burden on my shoulders. Her manipulation has reached the point where I am constantly on alert, trying to anticipate her reactions to avoid confrontation. Every word I say is measured, and I find myself filtering my thoughts before expressing them, afraid of the consequences of an inadequate response. Sometimes I try to remember what it was like before, when we were just two strangers who fell in love. The nostalgia for those happy moments is suffocated by the weight of recent experiences. Genuine laughter was replaced by awkward silences and looks filled with suspicion. I feel lost, like I'm wandering in an emotional maze, not knowing where to go. The thought of ending the relationship is always present, but it's as if I'm tied to an emotional anchor, unable to let go. The loneliness that precedes the prospect of moving on seems so scary that I hesitate, even though I know it's the only healthy option. I try to seek comfort from friends and family, but she managed to sow seeds of doubt in them too. They don't understand our love, she says, as if we are involved in a unique plot, incomprehensible to others. This alienation leaves me even more isolated, increasing the feeling that I can only count on her. More and more, I question my own sanity. Am I really experiencing an abusive situation, or am I exaggerating? This constant doubt undermines my confidence, making it even harder to take the step needed to break free. Despite everything, there is something changing inside me. A subtle but profound transformation. Against all odds, I'm starting to emotionally detach from her. It's not a quick or easy process, but it's as if a small sliver of light is breaking through the darkness that surrounds me. I began to realize that I deserve more than the emotional crumbs she offers me. Although the fear of the unknown still torments me, the idea of continuing this cycle of abuse has become scarier than the prospect of breaking free. The self-esteem she slowly eroded is beginning to rebuild, and with it, a courage I barely knew I possessed begins to emerge. I can't ignore the fact that finishing in the future won't be easy. I know she won't let me go without a fight, and that battle will be painful. But more than ever, I recognize the need to prioritize my own mental and emotional health over the chaos it brings to my life. I confess, the prospect of a future without her is both terrifying and liberating. The uncertainty of what will come next is overwhelming, but the certainty that I cannot continue in this toxic relationship is becoming clearer with each passing day. It's not easy to admit to myself that I'm letting go emotionally, because it feels like a betrayal of the hopes I once had for us. However, recognizing this truth is the first step towards my own healing. Self-love is becoming more valuable than the illusion of love she offers me.